highlight the programs offered by IFIM to its students and also share the differentiators which sets apart your organization from others.
You know, in any team you require different kinds of people. You need openers, you need wicket keepers, you need fast bowlers, you need also the spinners. So all that together makes a team. So if you have 11 Sachin Tendulkars in the team will not win. Because you don't have bowlers. So you need different kind of people. The kind of professionals that we are trying to groom are those whose one mistake can create a very big impact, but whose presence is not normally felt very easily. So the role of the wicket keeper. Okay, you miss one ball, 4 byes. Correct? You miss one catch, very costly. So the wicket keeper is supposed to do the job. He is only visible when something goes wrong. Okay. So in an organization, the leader is very visible. Okay. But there is a bunch of professionals who are actually bringing in certain skill sets to make the organization work. Okay. We as an institution focus on training graduates or grooming graduates who are professionals who bring in certain skill sets, can work in a team, can dirty their hand, who are socially responsible and can find out innovation-led solutions required for the organization and at the same time which can create an impact for the society. So that's our basic differentiation. So 3 key words here. One is professionals who are innovative, who can find out solutions, and who are socially responsible. These are the 3 key things which differentiates our graduates from other institutions.
IFIM has received AACSB accreditation recently. So how does this accreditation is helping students?
Today we are doing a very interesting exercise in association with the NHRD and is also supported by AACSB, is to find out what are the skill sets required for tomorrow's professionals. And the starting point is the World Economic Forum's report of the 10 skill sets that they have identified. We are very fortunate that we did a structured questionnaire interview where around 292 CXOs from India responded, and we are now having focus group interventions, discussions in 4 different locations across the country: Delhi, Bombay, Kolkata and Bangalore, to identify what could be the right kind of curriculum going forward, which is a mix of knowledge, skills and attitude. Now the first advantage that our graduates get because of the AACSB is that it lends us so much of credibility that we can actually speak to our key stakeholders, which is the recruiting partners and the industry practitioners, to build the curriculum. That is one part. So we bring in the recruiter closer to our graduates and vice versa. The other part is, as I was mentioning, that I just now today itself came back from a trip of USA and Europe across global institutions. The way we are structuring our curriculum now, there will be some very interesting elements. And if you have to look at the various building blocks in the curriculum, there will be 4 essential building blocks. One is the foundation, second is the core courses. So everybody has to know what are the fundamentals of marketing, finance, operations, HR, etc. Then they go for the specialization, the major specialization. But what we are now introducing, and that is happening because of our AACSB accreditation, is the whole issue of super specialization. Now what I mean by super specialization, see, if we look at it, where will be the roles for future professionals? Say for example finance, probably it will be more to do with fintech. Take for example the whole issue of analytics, probably it will be more in the area of artificial intelligence, big data analytics, blockchain. Take for example operations, it will be probably in the area of robotic process automation. Now the question is, do we have those skill sets in India? Do we have the faculty to teach those skill sets in India? The answer is probably not very affirmative. Okay. Now, what is the advantage of AACSB? I can probably take the liberty of going on record, but you will see that we will be probably tying up, in all probabilities, it is in the final stage of discussion, to tie up with some of the best known international schools to train our students in these areas, and number two, also to conduct faculty development program and groom our faculty to eventually deliver these courses. For example, it may be, if it is fintech, it may be Cornell's Johnson School. Okay. If it is big data analytics, it may be Macom's at Texas at Austin. If it is, say, digital business and consumer insights, it may be, the Darden School in University of Virginia. Now that is made possible because of our AACSB accreditation.
Okay.
Two, if we look at the other kind of programs, like we want to give a very strong international exposure to our students, where they might be doing 3 semesters or 1 year in India and then the final term abroad. That also is possible because of credit transfer.
Okay.
So that might happen with schools like State University of New York in Albany in the US, and some of the best known schools in Europe.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the Dean of SUNY Albany is slated to visit our school in the first week of December. Now all that is made possible, the tie-up with some of the best known global institutions and access to recruiting companies internationally is feasible because of the AACSB accreditation. I think that is the biggest benefit.
According to you, what are the challenges business schools are facing nowadays, and how an organization can overcome them?
See, the major challenge is that the disruption that has happened in the economy owing to the kind of organizations which are going to lead in the future. Just to take an example, if you take 2007, look at the top 10 Fortune 500 companies and look at 2017, the top 10 Fortune 500 companies. Only 3 of them exist. Okay, and who are the companies today in Fortune 500 top 10? Facebook, Amazon, so on and so forth. Go to Seattle and look at what Amazon is doing at Seattle. They are even talking about buildings which are going to be the futuristic buildings. So you have got waterfalls inside the office space. Okay. If you go to Silicon Valley, we find a completely different culture altogether. And just to give you, because I was having this interaction in the Silicon Valley and just coming from there, one of my very close friends who have been in Intel for the last 24 years says that for him it is difficult to find out a job if he wants to change today. Because believing or being in a company for 24 hours is taken, 24 years is taken as something which is not so positive. Now traditionally this would have been taken as a very big, what I call very good thing for any professional. Today, according to him at least, that means you have not renewed yourself. On the other hand, I was talking to one more guy who was earlier with Cisco. Then he was in the initial years with, when Facebook used to operate out of a 3-storied building, and the ground floor being a canteen. He was in that Facebook team that time. Today he has come out of that and formed another company, which is Signal FX. Now, which means every 7-8 years they are renewing and getting into a completely different kind of company. And these are creating technological disruption. So there will be automated cars. I think in Arizona in few months from now, the Uber will be operating without a driver. We continue to teach what we were teaching earlier and continue to make the students learn the way they used to learn earlier, then it is going, as an institution also, we will become irrelevant. Okay. So the challenge is, how do we bring in those elements in our teaching learning which grooms our graduates for this ambiguous and uncertain environment, and they become adaptable to the new technology, new practices that emerge, which means that they continue to learn. So learning to learn will be the key element in the new teaching learning paradigm in the management institutions. And for that, it is a huge challenge for the institutional leadership, because they need to appreciate that what has succeeded in the past is not going to make them successful in the future. A very important element will be also grooming the faculty, and that is where I talked about, giving our faculty the best exposure by working with some of the best known Ivy League institutions globally. That is the key thing, the adaptability and retraining of the faculty, and that understanding that the world is not going to be the same going forward. Driverless cars, oil-less cars, robotic process automation, these are something which are going to be the norm going future, going forward. And that is the challenge to which institutions have to live up to, have to gear. And I think that the just like the companies which are successful in the past did not succeed in, in the new economy. Similarly, the institutions which were successful in the past, we may not be successful going forward if they don't change. And there are not too many institutions who are willing to adapt to that change. And that is the real challenge and the real fear. So
is there any exclusive update which you want to announce in the coming months in terms of any tie-up with the global players?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we would like to bring in, and that is good for the management education in general, for India, is the fact that we would like to bring in these areas of super specialization as part of our curriculum, both in the 2-year program as well as for what we call the working professionals or the working executives. Now I am giving a simple example. I was actually attending a session in Stanford. And the session was being taken by the CEO of one of the best known accelerator. I don't want to name. Now the question is, whenever he was talking about valuation and how venture capitalists value a company, he was talking about a valuation of $1 billion plus. $1 billion plus valuation. Now the question is, when we talk about valuation in India, we don't even quote those figures. But is it that the talent is not here who can probably come up with those valuations? Answer is probably the talent also exists over here. Today only I saw one of the Facebook posts of my a former student, I don't want to name the institution, who was giving a lecture in Yale, as a matter of fact, because his innovation is so well done so well. Now the whole issue is, how do we bring in that ambition in our students, that $1 billion plus venture capital funding we can get. I'm just saying, because that is what happened. Lime got a $1.3 billion valuation, and they were talking about that case only. The whole issue is that once you get those kind of people to come here, they may not take a class, and I would not say that you have to get that guy to come and do a course or a class or a master class at IFIM. I would say do it for select, potential entrepreneurs in India. I think two things. One is this, that how do we make our younger generation more aspirational? That is one of the thing. And if I have to say, I do not say announcement, if I had to say that the journey that we would like to undertake is the journey to bring in the best practices sourced globally to India, both for our aspiring graduates in the 2-year program as well as for working professionals. Because today it is not like start and stop kind of a situation, that I start my studies from class 1, graduate, do my MBA, and that is the end of the studies. It is continuous. So in a span of maybe a 30 years of career, if you have to look at, an individual or a professional, a successful professional probably will need to do at least 6 graduations or 6 times going back to school. Okay, and we would like to, bring in those kind of a culture whereby you bring in the best practices, not just your students in the 2-year benefit, but also the working professionals benefit out of that, which also is to make our own industry much more competitive. So I think it will be a very what I call a virtuous cycle between practitioners, faculty from global institutions, and institutes like ours. And I think that is what the journey will be like going forward.
So why did IFIM school choose to opt out of the ranking system?
See, it is very simple. First of all, let us understand one thing, that if there is a choice to be made between accreditation and ranking, accreditation is a well laid down peer reviewed process where top schools, deans come and look at you and go for that accreditation, and you meet certain standards as a school. Ranking, the parameters keeps on changing each year, and there is a what I call, various magazines have various parameters based on which ranking is done. Once we are accredited, and if we have the gold standard in accreditation, which is AACSB, it makes a lot of sense to actually focus on things which create more value for 3 key stakeholders: our own participants, the industry, and the faculty. And that also requires certain what I call unusual steps, which is just like, as I said, super specialization in partnership with a globally known institution. Sending our faculty abroad to be groomed in the best practices. Now we are not sure whether these parameters are captured by the ranking agencies. And as we take those steps which are far more futuristic and not conventional. A conventional ranking will not capture the new age unconventional things that we are doing. So it is best that we do what is good for our graduates, the industry and the faculty, and move out of what is conventional. Since we are doing things unconventional, futuristic, and which is going to actually make an impact on practice, on the society and our alumnus. So I don't think the conventional ranking mechanism captures things which are unconventional, unusual and futuristic. So we decided to step out of it.
That's good. So you hold PhD in marketing strategy. So according to a business school or any other organization, what type of marketing strategy they use for the brand building or brand management?
The best brand building for in any institution in the education space is the internal branding or marketing. Now if you look at it, that who are the greatest brand ambassadors for a school? Is graduates, which is essentially the students who graduate, and the faculty, and the alumni. So if you create value for the students when they are in, if the faculty are current, faculty are known for what they are known, for what they know, means that not only the faculty is visible, faculty is acknowledged for their knowledge, the students do well in the industry, brand will happen automatically. So the greatest brand building is to create value for the students inside and to develop the faculty. If these two happen, everything else will follow. I think that is focus on what matters And what matters is value addition to the students inside, value addition to the faculty who is going to create value for the students. If these two happens, brand follows.
How is the education industry is shaping in India with the involvement of technology?
I think that is the biggest advantage that has happened, because see, the most scarce resource is the faculty. And if you have to marry scale with quality, technology is the greatest enabler. India has got a vast population who needs to be educated, and fortunately we are, in a situation where technology adoption has happened even in the remotest part of the country. I am talking about the mobile. Okay, so everybody, more or less have a smartphone, if not anything else. So that is that I think can create an education revolution if we can harness technology to our advantage. I think technology can be a biggest enabler in providing education in the remotest corner, and India does have an advantage because of the telecom revolution that has happened in India.
So according to you, what should be the motive of a business school? To create entrepreneurs or just job seekers?
It depends on the mission of the school.
Okay.
For example, we as a school, again, just like we moved out of ranking, that may be a dream. But if we can create a the right kind of education, what will happen is that at some point in time the graduates would create more jobs. So at least entrepreneurial thinking will be infused in the graduates. I think for a country like India, at least the fundamentals of entrepreneurship should be almost, I believe, be part of the required curriculum. And I can now talk about what is the experience here. See, for example, and it is not just like for a school, it can be a national mission also. For example, the UAE worked with Stanford School or the Stanford University to create a program for entrepreneurship. And it is impossible to Stanford to deliver the program. So actually they train their faculty to deliver the program in UAE. We are at advanced level talks with Stanford to bring in the program at IFIM. And hopefully, we can work with institutions or organizations like EPSI and disseminate that. How other schools can adopt. If I think majority, if not all the schools in UAE has adopted that program, and Stanford has actually trained the faculty, we should be able to do the similar thing. And I think India as a country is entrepreneurial. Only thing is this, that how do we provide the right education, the right context, and create an enabling environment. I think we can, I think that is the aim of any government, and to enable entrepreneurship. And we at IFIM has already taken a big step by going to Stanford, understanding the course, and having started the process to bring it at our school, and through us maybe in India.
Sir, is IFIM is also working with the startups in India? Not every sector, but at least who are operating in the online education industry.
See, we had a very strong association with NASSCOM. And the fact is this, that we are also actively looked at the NASSCOM study in terms of what is the skill gap in India. And NASSCOM actually identified 9 areas where there are skill gaps. IFIM has chosen to focus on 4, namely digital and mobile, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and analytics. And that is also one of the reasons why we are trying to build capabilities around that. We have got a think tank which is represented by CXOs, like chief digital officers, chief information officers of companies like Walmart, Amazon, Wells Fargo, Fractal, so to say. And we interact with them very regularly to update our curriculum, not only for the MBA participants but also for the working executives. See, the reskilling, as I said, there will be number of MBAs that will be required.
Okay.
We talk about management education, we only talk about the education at the beginning, like the 2-year MBA or the PGPX, like the 1-year MBA, like that. Okay. But there will be more and more requirement for continuous education in terms of executive education, where reskilling will be very important. For example, if today who is somebody who was a coder or a programmer will can be reskilled to become an AI consultant or an AI programmer. Okay, and that I think will be a very important role that will be played by management institutions, and we would like to take a very active role in doing that, and we are already working on with NASSCOM, with the industry partners,
Okay.
and I think you will see some real value coming up, okay, in the course of next few months.
What advice you want to give to a young entrepreneurs who want to start his or her business in the education industry? Like what qualities a startup founder, a startup team should have to run a business successfully?
Number one, an idea,
Okay.
okay, which can create an impact on the society.
Okay.
That's the first thing, which is that you must have a passion to create an impact on the society through an idea. Okay. Two, think big. Okay, and don't restrict that dream. So the dream has to be really big. Share your vision with others by creating a team.
Okay.
Okay, an idea can be maybe of someone, but it is to be shared, and when a team works on an idea, only then the idea becomes a reality. Okay. I think these are the three things in terms of A is an idea which can create an impact.
Okay. 2,
the dream has to be big.
Okay.
And 3, create a team which brings in complementary skills. Okay. And 4th and the last one is that focus on the journey.
Okay.
And not the the goal or the end result. I think the fun and the pleasure comes from the journey and not from the achievement of the goal.